America's Facebook page and on LIB Talks Facebook page.
Every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Miss the show? Watch it again on our YouTube channel, LIB Talks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Talk Liberia. This is In the Hot Seat. We are fortunate to have with us in the building today Mr. Randy Darpo. Mr. Darpo is an engineer, environmental engineer by profession, staunch supporter at one point of the CDC-led government, a supporter of President George Weah. Still remains a supporter, I believe, of CDC, but he will give us detail on that once he's had the opportunity to appear here. But he's with us today. We have been blessed with his presence for about an hour, which, of course, you will have the opportunity to interact with him as we usually do. But this is the hot seat. We want to welcome all of you here today and say thanks for being a part of our audience. Stay tuned while we bring in Mr. Darpo. Mr. Darpo, how you doing?
I'm fine, Lofa Julius. It's always a pleasure to be on such a platform across the Facebook community of social media. So thank you so much for giving me that opportunity. So I'm here and I'm all yours for the time frame.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Always definitely it's always an honor to have one of our own to discuss Mama Liberia, whether it is favor or against. The fact that you accepted the invitation to be a part of our conversation today in the hot seat specifically, we want to say thank you. So, Mr. Darpo, if you will please just introduce yourself to our listening audience. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. Even though I may have just skimmed over it, but I think people would like to know a little bit more about Mr. Darpo, what you do professionally.
Yeah, so thank you. So prior to 2009, I was basically working in corporate America, and like you said, I'm an engineer, environmental engineer, and I also hold a master's in environmental policy with emphasis in regulations and public policy. And throughout my time up to 2009, I was a very private person working in the private sector, not into Liberian politics. But then beyond 2009, I took interest into Liberian politics, but I managed to still share my time with my professional career. And up to today, I'm still doing that. So, and I have 17 years of experience working across all sectors in the United States, from the petroleum sector to the process industry, to the chemical industry, the pharmaceutical industry. And what I do, protecting the interests of the American government and people of the United States. I love to talk, and many people, even in engineering school, like, why you didn't do politics? Why you didn't do something? So part of my passion is politics, but I still maintain my professional career. So on Facebook, many people know me, Julius, to be someone who is a politician or want to be a politician, but many Americans and few Liberians know me professionally to be an engineer and a manager in my role as we speak today. So thank you, and I hope that can help. But again, if they need more detail, I'm open to having a very friendly conversation on one-on-one.
Great. Folks, I thank you. I think that was just enough. Give us at least a brief overview of who our studio guest is today. This is not something that many Liberians are open to, especially to have the opportunity to sit in the hot seat. There will be questions, there will be comments coming from all around. As you know, this is what we do in the hot seat. We don't hold back. We just remain civil. We remain respectful to our guests. But you will be opportune to post questions, comments. The phone lines will be open. If you have questions for Mr. Darpo, please feel free. Just remember to be respectful to Mr. Darpo as well as you would like to be respected as our audience, member of our audience. Mr. Dapper, let's get right into that. Let's start this off with, as you said, politics is your passion. You do politics like anybody else. We have a hobby. Politics considered one of your hobbies, and you have passion for it. Tell us, of all the political parties in Liberia, why did you decide to support the CDC government? And it appears now that you distance yourself from the CDC government. Why?
Yeah, so Julius, when I was in Liberia, I never had the opportunity to vote in Liberia. The age limit did not give me that opportunity. But what I did take away from Liberia are things that continue to affect us now and possibly the future to come. And that is the missed opportunities that past leaders in our country missed out on. So when I came to the United States, my goal coming here was not to be here, was not to be sitting here. My goal was to come and obtain my education and then return home to contribute my quota. But what I observed after I came, like many of your listeners, including yourself, war broke up back home and we found ourselves struggling with decisions to make. So in the process of doing that, the issue of politics came to my doorstep. And initially, I was not interested at all in any political party. Yes, I was not interested at all in any political party. But my interest started when Ellen got elected and John Mulu, who came and pursued an education that I felt could help Liberia to make our country better, went back to assist in changing the course of our country. When he returned, after Ellen refused to renew the contract, long story short, I have a few words with him and some of my colleagues who he has sent to school here, and they wanted me to join a political institution. So I started looking around, but then when I look at the different heads of all the past political parties, these are guys who play a major role in the slow process of our country getting to where other countries are today. Short, they had a very bad scorecard. And then as I was traveling around the country, like I said, prior to 2009, I was very busy here. As I was traveling around the country, and I always used to get involved with different Liberian radio stations. Unfortunately for me, I came across the Radio LIB. So this gentleman by the name of Asiba Toba, he called me up one time and said, "Hey, Randy, I really love the way you analyze things, and I want you to be part of the CDC." And my response was, "Hey, I'm an engineer, I'm an environmentalist. I don't think politics is something that I need to do, but also the seditions, as they are called in Liberia, you guys need to take care of their public behavior. And if that is not taken care of, I won't be part of it." And he said, "That's why I need guys like you, and to be here to come and help." So I like, "Okay, so what do you want me to do?" He said, "Well, I will need you to be on City Line Avenue. The ambassador will be there, and think about anything you can present because you are in the oil sector." So on that day, Julia, I presented the oil upper management platform to them, and then they were all excited about it. And they're like, "Oh, join the party, join the party." And I said, "Not now, not now, not now." But then over time, I still got appeal from what's his name, Asiba Toba, to come and join the party because I felt that I could be an added value to the party. But one thing I stuck to, even up to today, I think that many Liberians did not consider to be some priority or importance. And I told her, I said, "Look, where I came from in Liberia, it was not an easy journey for me. So whatever I put my hands into, I'm going to use every value that I've acquired in America here and standards to apply to that." And they were like, "What do you mean?" I said, "If I join the party and anybody come out and don't do the right thing, I will come back here." Julius, when they say pay attention to details, Many Liberians did not pay attention to that. And that the least thing, just how when you get into a contract and they give you the fine print, but you're not bothering yourself with the fine print because you're getting the big deal that you want to hear. I'm the fine print. So when things started to fall off the tree and I started asking questions, for example, why did the president started to put in place former member of the opposition party in position? Because these are the same people that we persuaded other people to vote against. And it came out with a lot of disagreement. But I didn't know that the Liberian political culture is totally different from the culture of America. Because I left Liberia in my 20s. Never working in Liberia. Right after high school, I came here. So I started having the internal wrangling between the Liberian politics, the Liberian guys in America. And today, I had decided to back off because, and I think many of your viewers knows that I'm speaking the truth. And the truth is, Mr. Weah is not doing the right thing. All right? He's not doing the right thing. I didn't campaign for Weah to go and lift the hand up of Mr. Alexander Tyler. No. I didn't campaign for Weah. If I see a man who is the Minister of Education, who stood up and said, I screwed up for 3 years, when that man didn't provide any strategic plan how he would drive that ministry to its success. Those are things that I did not campaign for. And those are things that when people see me going back and forward, they don't understand that I have a positive and a negative side. If I see too many negatives, I pull back. If I see too many positive, I will go back because I want to make sure that whatever you, Julius, the listener out there, didn't experience because of the limitation to leadership and the ability to be expendable. I don't want the next generation to be a victim of that. I'm a victim of that, and I think many of your viewers are also victims of that. So that's the struggle you see between the seditions and the party and myself.
Randy, are you concerned that others may think that you're inconsistent? Because there was a point in time where I remember during the elections, you were very forceful, like you rightfully stated, that you supported the candidacy of President George Weah and, of course, the CDC government. And a little after the elections, you said, we heard you again criticizing George Weah. You may have addressed that part, but then few months later, you were again on the track, again propagating messages on behalf of the CDC-led government. Will you find it difficult to address the issue that others may think that you are inconsistent in your, in your decisions?
No, you see, those who think about the inconsistency are those who don't understand mathematics and engineering principle. They need to understand that I take my mathematics and engineering skill to discuss things. Those who are speaking about inconsistency are using applied human behavior factor. They are saying to themselves that 2 + 2 = 4. So if Randy flipped the switch, then he flip-flopped it. But what I'm saying to them, that politics is very dynamic. It's based on human behavior. Think about your child who 1 month will be a very good child. You will relax your restriction on your child. But when your child starts to misbehave, does that mean that if you flip the switch to become the parent that you want to see and you demonstrate it before your child? When I ran the Weah campaign November the 6th, I said that if Mr. Weah doesn't do the right thing, I will come back here. And there's no mathematical equation that says 2 + 2 = 4. Mr. Weah will always be 4. No, because Mr. Weah, he had a lot of people around him who gave the wrong advice. Mr. Weah at times would do things that would draw attention and nothing would raise red flags. So when he started to do the wrong thing, like you said earlier, well, he started appointing West Finley, Emmanuel Nukwe. You know what you guys are today. I felt that he was not the 2 + 2 consistently that would be 4. So I decided to come out and constructively criticize him. Now, when they finally signed the agreement with the World Bank, because I subscribe with the World Bank, and whatever the World Bank is doing in any developing country, I have a listserv email that I usually get. So when the World Bank finally met with the WIA administration on their quarterly visit and decided to help the WIA administration to get things done in the country, and I started to see some of the projects, mainly from the lead minister of Public Works. So what I decided to do, I came back and said, hey guys, I think the government is heading in the right direction. They are making a turn into the right direction. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold their feet to the fire, but I'm going to have a reference point. And that reference point would be the Change for Hope that contains 4 pillars. And I'm going to use that 4 pillars to come on my show and discuss things that the government will be doing of that 4 pillars. But what started happening? It was a 2 + 2 = 4 again. What started happening? I tried contacting them. Like, how you contacted me? Hey guys, you're in the ministry here. Is there anything in the ministry that I want to know about? Because I don't want to come and say they are doing work in the agriculture sector when I don't see a Liberia or the WIA propos from the Minister of Agriculture standpoint, the agriculture policy of how she want to drive this agriculture under the WIA. The education minister, what is the WIA dream for education? What is the WIA dream for the EPA? What is the WIA dream for NOCAL? What is the WIA dream for lands and mines? These basic documents, whether it's partnership, whether it's loan, grant, I just need a basic. I wasn't getting these things. And I have a show to run. And I don't believe coming out here and sitting before the camera and say, oh, the government doing well. The government doing well. You, Judah, would say, Randy, come on, man.
But Randy, there was a point in time where you appeared to have been doing just that. Even when things were not going right, you still came across to be protecting that good image.
When you say when things were going right, I think
there wasn't any point in time I saw anything going right. That's why I say even when things weren't going right, there were points in time.
No. Give me an example where things were not going right, and I was in the right talking. Give me an example.
Since the ascendancy of President Weah to the presidency, what have you, or what can you label as some of the great achievement that you saw upon which you made the U-turn to go back?
I won't classify that as an achievement, but I would say what motivated you to get in support. Remember, and don't forget, that's a reference. That's the baseline. If Weah does the right thing, I will come back here. If Weah doesn't do the right thing, I will also come back here. And
give us an idea of some of the right thing that he did. Give us an idea of some of this right thing that he did.
Hold on. I said, when the IMF met with the government of Liberia,
and
decided to partnership with them, I knew that was a very important turning point, because with the IMF involvement into little projects, it gave me the sense that there is an OSA facilitator in the process. If you let me finish now, please. Yeah. Yeah. So when the IMF got involved, I started to see the road projects taking place. I started to see rural development taking place in terms of building from Thatcher's home to giving the people some solid home. Those were things that were not there before. He began to add those things. But I did not come to say, hey, everything is 100. I took the Chief for Hope, the 4 pillars. And for everything that went in there, I started to discuss them line by line. Most of the time, I was placing emphasis on the development and the economy. And based on that, the finance minister came on my show. But in other sectors like the Ministry of Agriculture, the education, I was seeing these people, whether it was on the public media, whether it was a press conference, Julius, there was no information coming out. So again, it stalled my progress. And when I came out and said, look, guys, I can't go this far because I need information to run this show. So to answer your question in a short form, when the IMF started to work with the government of George Weah, and the role and other projects started, those were values that I saw that motivated me, because there must be a motivating indicators to bring you on. But then that does not mean that you're going to sign off and be there forever. Like I said, 2 + 2 is not equal 4. Let's get this. The government will not always be 2 + 2 = 4, which many people, to your first question, think that I'm flip-flopping. No. If you have that mindset that 2 + 2 = 4, then you don't study human behavior. Because human behavior is very dynamic. It's not static. So how the government behave, how the government respond, I will come here to challenge what they're doing.
But Randy, you also understand that, speaking of the IMF, the decision, all right, to even accept the partnership with the IMF, to even take control of certain aspects of it, it wasn't an independent decision. It was based on the fact that the IMF noticed that, okay, these guys are not doing good, so we need to literally hold them by the hands. So was that also something that influenced the decision to say, you know what, now that we have some sort of outside influence in part of the decision these guys would make, so now I'm going to jump in and be a part of the process? I mean, would it be fair to view it in that way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Because here's why. Okay. There are instances that I write policies for different companies. If they keep getting hit with fines, and I'm coming in as a consultant, I'm going to facilitate the process to keep it in compliance and not in compliance. To your point, the government has been off the rail. There has not been a perfect driver who can see. So with the IMF coming in, you in America, many in America know what it means for such an integrated institution to take charge. It motivated me to say, okay, I'm coming based on this. And that's why I started and said that when the IMF came in, I didn't get walked in to say, but I referenced to you and said, when the IMF came in, it was when I decided to get into this thing.
Randy, but then let's take a step back a little bit. I want to know, based on what you just explained, give me an idea. You being an engineer, you are very strategic. You plan things out well. You analyze, and before you implement. I want you to lay out for us what was your expectation, knowing that you were supporting a candidate, President George Weah, at the time, who served as a senator. Okay, served as a senator of Montserrat County, and we are yet to see any achievement from President Weah at the time when he served as a senator. Yet and still, you saw reason to support his candidacy for the presidency. What was your 90-day or your expectation for his achievement or accomplishment within 90 days and then 160 days and moving forward? Did you plan or lay out anything in that direction to say, okay, within 90 days, if I don't see these guys moving in this direction, I'm going to start doing this, or within 160 days? Was there anything of such? And if not, what really influenced that decision? Even though you spoke about it earlier, you said, yeah, it was because the previous government did not do anything to influence you to support them, but there were other candidates and other political parties. Yet and still, you chose the President George Weah. Why so? And give us your roadmap, please.
Yeah, so let me start from the Senate.
Okay.
The Liberian Senate is very complex. It's not like where we have in the United States a bipartisanship. There are times in Liberia that you get even a tri-partisanship or a quad-partisanship or a quadruple partisanship. So the issue of bipartisanship is not a common terminology to use in Liberia. Now, based on that and that in mind, when you are in the Senate, take Yeka Koluba, for example, this guy cannot get his way to get any bill on the floor because of the complexity and the culture of the Senate and the House, how they dislike you. So when I campaigned for Weah, that question came to me. Why would you support a man who has not made any effort in the Senate? My response to them is what I just said. It is a terrain, it is an environment, it is a political culture. Eddie was in control. Whatever he wanted, if they said no to him, he was not going to get his will through. And today, Yeke Koluba and others are going through that same hurdles.
But Yeke Koluba and other
hold on now. Hold on, please. Let me lay the premise down. That's the roadmap I'm giving you now.
Mm-hmm.
So when he got elected,
mm-hmm.
the goal was, since he doesn't have that right to do things at his will,
mm-hmm.
let's campaign for him. If he becomes head of the executive, he is going to be in charge of a branch of government that will make policy and nobody going to stop him. So we ran that campaign and we became successful. Now, when the campaign started in 2017, I called a very Topa man
mm-hmm.
and told Topa, I said, Topa, I need us to begin this process. And Topa and others said, what is that process? I said, when George W. Bush was leaving office, he called Obama and he called what the guy named Lily McCain and said, I need you guys to send to me your policy team that will begin a policy evaluation process. And I said, what we could do is, since this is August, we need to have an election team. We need to have a policy team. We need to have a post-election team and inauguration team. But I'm more interested in the policy team. And then I'm also interested in the recruitment team. Those two teams will play a very important role. And I told them that the policy team will begin to look at Ellen administration to see what Ellen did right, what Ellen did wrong. And then the recruitment team will begin to shortlist at least between 300 to 350 people that we can rigorously try to examine their background and see who they will be. By the time we get to October, we may have 2 or 3 persons per career, per department or per ministry and agency. That fell on deaf ground. And my response to them, I haven't decided to do anybody before. My response to them, in the first 100 days, they will have trouble. And they defied me. And one time, I posted a photo of, what the guy named, I forgot his name, but he was one of the generals in the Charles Taylor administration. I think he served as defense minister too. I posted his name, and I posted Brandon Samoka, and everybody was very furious. They said, no. So I went back in the chat room and said, look, guys, this is totally wrong. The people are not aligned. So I built the roadmap that you're talking about. But here's the thing. And I'm not here to say I'm bad morphing the party, but this is just a takeaway from what I learned, Julius.
Mm-hmm.
The party people feel what I describe as party entitlement. If Judah is closer to Joy, we are the main. He says supersede my say, no matter what. If Judah was with the party when it was funded, and I just came, whatever I say, because Judah is a founding member, it supersede my decision. So I was already caught up in the thing, but I provided more suggestions. And those suggestions, if you want my video, where I came out that day, I said, this is suggestion 1, suggestion 2. Because when we have the indoor discussion, it was not going well. I said, okay, I have to put myself on record. Because one day I will be asked, what did you do? So that video, it spoke for itself. Today, a few days ago, we had a minister of education say for 3 years. But in that particular video where I said, Mr. Weir, when these people get confirmed, bring them to you and ask them to give you a 3-year strategic plan. And right in that confession of the Minister of Education, it falls right in there. And that's the reason why today they don't like to see me. Because everything that I told them, Julius, based on the roadmap you're asking for, they are either on audio or they are on video. And there's no way you can deny that. Because these things were recorded, just how the video will be recorded, and it will be stored in the digital history for a very long time.
Right.
But I tried these things. But again, there is a party entitlement in the party that if Judah is closer to Mr. Weir, whatever anybody else says, it will be superseded with no good reason. And what I decided to do after that, when I was not getting the collaboration, the teamwork. It was when I came out now and said, hey, I'm not going to be against the party. I am not going to join any party. And on record, and I think everybody will attest to that. You are not seeing me coming on any show, say, hey, I'm a member of this, I'm a member of that. No, because I remain committed to a party that I felt that I could become a voice, a professional person who will build capacity for the next generation. I will be here today, tomorrow I may be there. Everything that I learned, I want to leave the team with somebody to continue the path. But the party don't see it that way. And that's why I came out today and in the past days, in the past year, speaking about the ills against the government. Of just recent, the party members are going out there and posting road project of the president. And just this morning, I posted the Swedish and Liberian partnership. Those road projects are projects that were inherited by George Weah from the early administration. So while I was asking for some of those documents, and I got to know now, they could not give me those documents because Julius, the document have a timeline as to when the project started. And they know me to be a very open and very frank person. Now, when I start to discuss things, I'm going to say, look, guys, even though, for example, now, the president is carrying out these projects. However, these projects started from the early days. Here, when it started in 2016, 17th of December, and going to end in 2021. They will not want those kind of things to be said on my show. And that's the reason why I believe they were holding up to the information. Now I have made the information public. It's on my page. It's in all the different major groups. Go and click on the link. I send you the link. When you click on that link, it tells you exactly the different counties in the Southeast, the project from the Swedish people. So that was what our vision. My vision was to facilitate the process, provide compliance, regulatory, and other aspects. But again, the too many red tapes that make no sense. I cannot go to the opposition. I campaign against the opposition. And there will be no way that I can go back to them with all no genuine reason. And that's why when people see me going this way, I don't want them to think 2 + 2 = 4. We are as a human being, we are got people around you who are very dynamic in their decision. If you have that 2 + 2 = 4, and you label me at 2 + 2 = 4, then you will never know. Then that means that if your child say, I will be committed to you to follow things that will make me a better child in America or in Africa, take that 2 + 4 in your mind. So when the child starts to do the wrong thing, don't go there and say, hey, I told you not to do this. So that's how things are because of people's behavior that kind of fluctuate. And as an engineer, we look at fluctuation. There are times, you're an engineer yourself too. There are times things fluctuate. But you got to look at the peak points to take decisions. So when they go down, I go down with them. When they go up, I look at those peak points because those are their highs and I try to roll with them. But they are not coming forward with those things. And it's a challenge for the communities of many Liberians because many Liberians in the country had not come across someone like me who will say, this guy is right today. And it will be of that mindset that I will continue to say the guy is right. But when the guy does wrong and I come out and say, this guy is wrong, because of how we have been conditioned, because of how our culture has set our mindset, we don't believe that there is a referee in the game. You are a Barcelona fan or a Real Madrid fan. You make your own rules, the other men make their own rules. And the referee that can't, oh, no. What I'm trying to say here is, I don't care whether I'm a Barcelona fan. If Messi screwed the game up, I will say something. When Ronaldo used to play for Real Madrid, when he screwed the game up, I will say something in his face. In Liberia, we don't see those things this way. But I'm trying to introduce that. Am I going to be successful, Judah? Not 100%. But will I leave a legacy? Yes. Because you know why? Today, I got videos from the past where I said things, and the videos are being played today. Tomorrow, there will be more of me. And over time, that particular mindset of Liberia will be built. Because when we measure our success, after 174 years, which will be this year, and the education minister coming out and telling you, Julius, I was there for 3 years, I didn't do nothing. Do you know what every minute of that 3 years going to do to a child back there? And the president just got up. So what? The vision plan that I had as a recommendation, let the people bring before you their strategic plan. I have my strategic plan every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you do also too.
Let me ask you a question here, Randy. Describe, I would say, in short, describe the government's performance over the past 3 years, since January of 2018 to current. Just describe their performance shortly. Tell us. I mean, this is a government that you supported. This is a government you brought into power. Since their ascendancy, describe their performance based on economic and everything, healthcare,
Well,
education.
first of all, similar question was asked of me during the campaign. What is your expectation when Mr. Weah took office? I said, and I hope I can quote myself right, because it's been a while now. I said, I would like to see a full-blown audit. An audit that will tell the Liberian people where Mr. Weah is taking from Ellen.
Okay.
Financial-wise, operation-wise, institutional knowledge of people, because there will be some people that will be going and bring those things out. And I would like for the president to have, if not him, but his press corps to have a weekly press conference to update the people on his progress. And I would like to see the president giving at least 5 to 6 bullet points on his website that he would like the Liberian people to follow. And I would like to see the various ministry looking for professional Liberians in their area of expertise. For example, the foreign ministry should open up a database through the different embassies around the world and put in place A to Z catalog of different professions, where if the government needs anyone, go into that database and have a conversation with them, see where they can help. These things were never put into place. And if you don't have these things in place, you will not have a plan, you will not have a mission, you will not have an action plan. I mean, you will not have an implementation plan. And when you measure your success, it's going to be very poor. And that's why recently I said the president is scheduled to go and speak to the national legislature on Monday. And
Right.
I'm going to be watching everything he's going to say. I'm going to fact check them. You know why I'm going to fact check them? One, all his ministry, all his agency, the director and the minister. If you go on their webpage, for the fiscal year they have served over the 3 years, you will not find any annual report. You will not find no performance report. Those two components of report will determine what the president will say. Those things are not in place. So if you ask me, the president, they have only been doing well with the private partnership project. That's where they have been very successful. But as far as the ministry and the president on their own, what we call initiative or the goal of the government, it has not been. So when the president will speak on Monday, all you're going to talk about bull connectivities, and you already know the Swedish government started that thing long time during early. They're not going to give them that money. That money going to be.
So are you discrediting the government? Because one would say, citizens would say, for that, lack of better word, hey, it don't matter. The fact that CDC government or the Unity Party government started and CDC completed, we don't care.
Okay.
So they should give CDC credit. Is that fair?
Fair point. But are they saying it now? Because if they set that tune, by today, you will not have people having suspiciousness, because their reason will be, we are teaching you guys that the past leader never did. Because the past leader will always track project down. They could even use Ellen as their first example. Ellen came and broke the Dole ministry down, Ministry of Defense. But
Right.
Did we change Ellen course of plan? No. But the fact that they will come out and tell you that, oh, this project is Weah project. No. This is an inherited project that Mr. Weah, as president, who believed that the country must make progress, is doing as well. That's what they are not doing. And I'm not discrediting them when you say discrediting. Maybe you're speaking in a conditional address. And those who are thinking that I'm no, I'm giving you, based on what I said, an observation of what I have seen over the years. So there is something I believe every Liberian need to understand. There is something called observation, and then followed by what? Your comment.
Right.
I have seen over the 3 years, from no vision plan, from no annual report, from no performance report, from the education minister saying, I gave up, I screwed up, please, and the president said, go and fix it. How will the president say, go and fix it? And he had that man vision plan and said, you know what, every quarter I want you to come to the office during the cabinet meeting and give me an update. Minister of Finance, we are coming to the end. That's why we have fiscal year. 4 quarters make a fiscal year. And every quarter is 3 months. So if this guy came up with a strategic plan and every month the president is having a meeting, and when that quarter ends, the president will be on top of every ministry and agency. So based on these things not happening, those are all who are here that run through the same processes. We can see things from a far away. Many Liberians know the game. Even though they don't play the game, they know the game. When they see a game being played, they say, man, that player need to be substituted. When you ask them, they'll give you a very vivid explanation. And 9 out of 10 times, they will be right.
Randy.
So, but for us who know the skill, who have the intellectual experience, not the education with a degree, but also have the experiential qualities that work in the field, we have that thing of seeing it. So we can tell that things are not going right. So I'm not discrediting that. I'm not trying to tell them that they don't have a workable program that will yield results.
So Randy, let me ask you a question. You mentioned substitution. Folks are asking, name us 3 government officials. If you were authorized today, you were given the amount of authority to name or maybe replace those individuals. Who would those be? 3 government officials, permanent government officials who you think are not doing what they're supposed to do to help this government move forward. If you can name 3 or 5 of them.
Yes. One of the biggest sectors that could help our country, and that is the food sector, the Ministry of Agriculture. And again, I'm not going to just give one answer. If there is a reason, Julius, I think one thing the government needs to do here is to open a window for consultancy. If the agriculture minister is struggling, there should be someone the government need to consult with, to take a rigorous examination of all the ministry, look at the function of the ministry, and do an assessment, a gap assessment, a need assessment, to see where each ministry is struggling. Because these people are struggling because they don't have people to help. The president can fire somebody today and bring the wrong person in. So I will call for just releasing of people. But I will start with the Ministry of Agriculture. Let the president bring in people who he will say, you know what, I want you to do a full-blown performance administrative assessment of the ministry. Interact with the minister and see what are their challenges. And then you draw a plan. You see, the reason I'm coming this way, Julius, remember the question you asked me about the roadmap when I said we should vet people, about 350 people a long time ago? If we have done so, and we are seeing CV, not just sedition, but CV from other people who want to help our country. Today, the issue of Liberian calling for people heads to roll, it would have been minimal. So I would say, my thing is, all the ministry, they need help. I won't ask for them to be removed, but I would say they need someone who I would describe as a special assistant, but not working for them, but to ensure that what they are doing is indeed making sense, because it will be based on a plan. So I'm not going to call for anyone to be removed. Yes. And well, I'm making that history on your show.
If you would say they should just add on, basically what you're suggesting here is, if I'm understanding right, you're saying, okay, don't let nobody go. Just bring in consultants to help you in the process. That's an additional burden based on my view that they're going to do. So if you have someone who's already not doing the job based on
why
adequately, do you think Samuel? All right, let's just do this, right? Do you think Samuel Toyer is working adequately? That all he needs now is just some sort of consultant, because there have been open consultancy done for the Ministry of Finance. There have been folks on here, economist Dr. Gompu, who came on this platform at one point, spoke about these things. There have been other individuals who work in the finance industry, have given support, consultancy, and they're just not taking this. So why add on more burden and keep an individual who is not getting the job done? So when you say bring in people to help. I don't get it. I don't get that logic though.
Here's the thing here. All right. The question from me to you in regards to the consultancy is, are those consultancy coming at the request of Samuel Tour, or are they coming at the request of the president?
Should the consult? Does it matter?
Yes, it does. I can hire you. Yeah, here's why. Here's why.
Okay.
Why. Yeah.
All right.
I can hire you to do something for me that I want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be the final decision maker in the end. But if the head call for a consultant to do exactly what I explained,
Mm-hmm.
and report back to him with recommendation, that would change the game around. Because I won't be the one, or you won't be the one dictating to that person. Until that step is taken, they can bring anybody they want. Because number one, how is the consultant being vetted in the first place? Will they take somebody who is very straight and say, come and do something for us? Somebody who will say, this is wrong and we should do it this way? Then I will take that person. So if the head of the government, the president, say, y'all go out there, like how I think they posted something about the AG, they need a new AG. Bring somebody like that person, sit with the president, and let that president build confidence in that person. And say, whatever you go out there, you do. And I believe it's the right thing. I want us to sit down here and discuss it. And I want you to go out there and inform the public what your step and measure and expectation will be. That way, it will set a new tone. Because every ministry that is struggling, will now be subjected to what that person is doing. It's called cleaning up the system. It's called fixing the problem. Because the president can remove everybody from now. But when he brings in the wrong and inexperienced people, it's going to be difficult. When Mr. Rodden became regular president, as I would put it, he sent a team around the world that were recruiting Ghanaians, and those Ghanaians were being interviewed. That's not, we have never did that. So some ministers are not performing well. But it is a two-way problem. One, it is the problem of the president not asking the people for a 2 to 3 year vision plan. So he 2 years are fought. And he had the right people to sit with him and give him the advice. For many of us who watched the Donald Trump turning over, there was one thing that we kept hearing from the media: the Biden transitional team, the Biden transitional team. And every time you see the name coming up, that is a framework that is in the US that is used by every incoming administration, from the campaign team to the recruitment team to the policy team and to the post-election and to the inauguration team. You saw this guy from South Carolina, right? That I think the black representative, I just forgot his name. He was the head of the team. This is how things should be done. So the government screw up, and that's why the 3 years is below 70%. The 3 years they are bragging about, if you ask me, is below 70%. Number one, and I will give you the one example. Mm-hmm. This president had not taken the responsibility as a former peacemaker, as a former humanitarian person. And I'm not mean to criticize him, but to go back to the different counties and tell the people thank you. Trump just left recently from the White House. When he became president, he came to Pennsylvania and other states and told the people thank you. So when it comes to that question of whether the finance minister not hiring people or whether they mean, I will call for what I just told you and not to waste your time, Julius.
Okay. All right. In that light, Randy, before we go to our next set of section, folks, if you're just joining us, we want to welcome you to the Hot Seat Saturday on Across Africa Network. Our studio guest today is Mr. Randy Darpo, and Mr. Randy Darpo, a lot of you already know, was at one point a staunch supporter of the CDC-led government. Some may call him or claim that he's controversial in his view. But today you have the opportunity to interact with him. I will post the phone number on here, and if you have a question or comment, I will read some of the comments down here. Go down the list of comments here for us. But before I put up the phone line, let's take it. You know what? Let's give Mr. Dapo a few seconds. Let's give him a 30-second break. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back, folks. Thank you.
All right.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Miss Monet. I'm a neo-traditional artist from Mama Liberia. I showcase our Liberian culture and tradition to the rest of the world. And today, you are watching Across Africa TV network.
Hey, come on in. Welcome to LIB Talks, where we discuss all the issues, especially the tough ones.
Where does it happen? Live, of course.
Here on Across Africa's Facebook page and on LIB Talks Facebook page.
Every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Miss the show? Watch it again on our YouTube channel, LIB Talks.
All right, folks, welcome back to the hot seat. Today we have Mr. Randy Darpo in the hot seat. We want to welcome all of you guys and say thanks for being a part of our discussion today. Mr. Darpo,
Yes, sir.
you are involved in the environment. Today we have a young man, the mayor of Monrovia, and of course, as of late, people have been complaining about the issue of sanitation in Montserrat, and you have been out there proffering suggestions. I want you to take us through the whole idea. How will you describe his current performance with the issue of sanitation, especially in Monrovia? Like recent, I saw you pictures or videos of that place. Just describe it. And this is your government. Like, well, people say don't say your our government, but
Our government, exactly. That's what I was about to say.
Government, but you brought this government, and you brought this government into power. So tell us, where are you guys going wrong with this whole the issue of environment? I mean, the place is, when it comes to sanitation, it's terrible, especially in Monrovia, the height of the place. What's going on?
So let me take you back to the vetting process again, Julius. To the vetting process. If we had a proper vetting process, all the issue would have been minimized today. But you see, I don't blame many Liberians who are coming back to say negative things about those who support the party, because what Liberians don't understand, there are now Liberians around the world with different mindsets. People want an individual, an organization to succeed. But if they are not succeeding, don't fault them for their mistake. It's like God say, send my son die for you guys. If you sin, you're going to hell. We can't judge people like that. If this government is making error, what you need to look at first, what people expectation, like to your question, Randy, what were your expectations? That was a very fine question that you asked me from the get-go. We all were hoping when the day the war ended, the Liberian expectation was we're going to put all the past behind us and look in front of us. But what do we see happening? The very people who killed our own brother and sister brought them to power. Should we hate them? Should we cast them out of the surface of Liberia? No. They didn't know what they were doing. So coming back to your question, most of the guys that you see in the government, and let me be specific with Jefferson Koji, he has no experience. Jefferson Koji never worked as a cadet. He never worked as an office boy. And as a professional, I won't give him such a big position. And part of my interaction with the CDC government, the Abin Wise, the Jefferson Koji, the Mamasi Kaba, if I had a president here, send those people to different African countries, by now, they would have been completing their BSc or master's program, coming back with experience. But again, the party entitlement superseded some of those decisions. So a guy who comes to a very big position, Monrovia City Mayor, a city that when they are listing major capital, political capital city, Monrovia will be part of it, is in that position and doesn't even understand from his mayor role that there is something called solid waste management. Not even a plan, not even where to start. And the saddest thing about it, they feel emboldened not to listen to people out here who making sense to them. And that's one of the reasons why many seditions, few oppositions will have problem with me. And this is just the beginning, because if you are for the opposition or you for the CDC party, when you are incompetent, I will tell you that you are incompetent. And with that kind of mindset, it's going to be a very, very uphill battle for many Liberians to accept me. But that's just who I am. Because I was trained in the US. But I get to start add that. But here is the problem here. Jefferson Koji is challenged. He has absolutely no idea. He does not have the intellectual experience like the education.
Okay.
He does not have the experiential experience like the hands-on.
Okay.
He definitely needs someone, again, like I said, who will get into that facility, do an assessment. Because if you ask Jefferson right now, what is your vision for the Monrovia City Corporation? Think about electronic waste, solid waste, municipal waste, commercial waste, industrial waste. He doesn't have any other ideas. Because these are things that will make a city a cleaner city. Is Jefferson Koji looking at a sustainable and green city? If yes, what does he have? In 2007, Ellen brought on board some professionals from the UNDP. All right? They did an excellent assessment of that facility. They categorized all the different categories of waste. If Jefferson Koji knew where to find the document and knew as its mayor how to find the document, or if he has somebody within that particular institution, when he first took over, call a welcome and introduction meeting and ask from the operation to the administrator, where are we in terms of the past administration? And that's why part of the policy team that I call for, that could go and sit with Ellen and sit with every minister and begin to have the policy turn over documentation, it would have given all of them the sense. Those of you, many people who work in a group home, because I work in a group home. When you're taking care of people and your shift is ending, what I learned from the group home, before you leave, you will tell the incoming staff what has happened during your time on the shift. The purpose of doing that is to give that guy who or that lady who just came in the heads up as to what he or she should be expecting. When you have policy team meeting each other between the incoming and the transition, the reason the conversation should take place is to understand where they're leaving the ministry. Because you look at the program, you look at the budget, you look at the implementation, the monitor that they took over the years, and you look at the performance report and monitoring and annual report. If those things are not in place, from that get-go, you will know that that ministry or that agency will be having a serious problem. So Mr. Koji, if you ask me, he is the one that needs all the help, all the professional help. He's like a guy that don't have legs, not an arm. Somebody got arms, but they using crutches, that's fine. But with Jefferson, see how they say they run. Jefferson doesn't even know that if a stockpile of dirt sit on what we call the native soil, is going to pollute the soil. The contamination going to trickle away down into the water. If they burn, the ashes going to cause air pollution. They don't understand those things. So you need all the help. Solid waste management plan with 3 focus areas. Soil separation, we want to go to green, no plastic, should be mixed with the regular trash. Separate this thing. Mary brought started the idea. I think that's something that he should even pick up on to continue in that path. But again, the super entitlement of I know we are, so whatever I'm doing. He started the program with We Are for Clean City. But what was the strategic area to maintain We Are Clean City? Look at the city today. That tells you that it is one thing to say things from your mouth, but the truth will come from the people. And again, citizens shouldn't get mad with me because, like you said, this is my area of speciality. Yes, this is my area. If I were sitting in there with you right now, I'll be monitoring the TOV in your over the toxicity of water organic compound that is generating in our office, because the surface we use, your furniture, they are built with formaldehyde heart. And I will tell everybody on your show here today, during the summertime, when you open your door to get in your car, roll that windshield down. Because the formaldehyde, the content that in it, based on the sun and the heat, they are interacting in there. So some of the formaldehyde, which is a hazardous compound, if you keep that car in there and say, oh, I'm going to keep the car, you're going to inherit it over time, you may suffer from cancer. So if I'm doing this thing for people in America here, what more about me helping my own people? So I just look at people, my brother, I would say this. If they are wrong, I don't care which side you're on, I will tell you in the face. And that's what I'm doing here.
And let me ask this question before I get into the comments on here, and I'll read some of the comments shortly. One will ask the question, if President, we are able to offer you a position in the government, will you be this critical of the government today? Or would you have been this critical?
Let me say this to you. The finance minister myself has series of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
All right? We have series of conversation. The finance minister is not a just to know friend. We started from Tottenham High together. We graduated in 1993. I came here, and I think in 2002, 2003, he was here. We used to have series of conversation. On the day he was leaving, he called me up and said he was going to Liberia, and we're doing early time. When he won, when the party won, he came here to promote the pro-poor agenda. He told me, he said, Randy, I need you to come to Liberia. And I said, I cannot go to Liberia right now. He said, why? I said, I need an official invitation. And he said, why? I said, because my job here is very important. Yes, my job is very important here, Julius. So he went back. And before he left, he said, but what do you want? And yeah, what I told him, I need to focus on 3 areas. One, the Ministry of Lands and Mines. I want to make sure that the natural resources for our country, we conduct a natural resource assessment. Because you see Lamco, you see Bone Mine, the residual mountains are hanging out there, and it's going to take millions of dollars to level them out to create something else. It's because there were no post-remediation plan that were put together during the Tottenham era. Things have changed now. Today in our country, from people going to sand mine in the rivers, to sand mine along the coastal line, to going in the forest and turning our subsurface for gold and diamond, those are things that can deplete, can be depleted. Let me drink some water because my liver getting dry.
Right.
Yeah, they can be depleted. All right, they can be depleted. So the way we can prevent those things is for the Ministry of Lands to put in place a policy that will restrict certain mineral resources from being exploited. If you go to the southeastern side, you got people entering the borders. They are not only taking the mineral, but they are affecting the soil and the environment. So my role in there is to help facilitate permit process. If Julia want to go and conduct any subsurface or body water exploitation for gold and diamond, we want to make sure that that permit that we're going to issue him will define exactly what he's going to be doing. And then we train people in a different county how to conduct a weekly, a monthly inspection or all inspected inspection. And that will keep in check some of our natural resources for the future. Second place I want to be is the EPA. The EPA is one of the weakest institutions. But money can come out of the EPA. You have the people who will take care of the air. When last have you seen people driving car in Moreover? During the early time, it was laughable when they said cars that were made in 1965 and driving from 1970 down, was not going to be allowed into the country. They were wrong. It's not the car that having the problem. It is the gasoline in the car. There's something called octane. When you go buy your gas, you see 87, 89. Think about a sugar in a water. There are times you say, I will put 2 lumps. There are times you say, I will put 1 lump. The category of gasoline, it functions to reduce any mechanical or hydraulic exchange between the gas and the engine. And that will reduce the air from being polluted. What I'm trying to say here, no matter how old the car is, there are 2 major things that every country is considered to be a concern when it comes to preventing the air. One, The air you breathe, if the car is giving out carbon monoxide, it's going to affect you. All right. So you will use a gas that will help to reduce that release from the car. That way, mechanic shop in the country from the EPA and the Ministry of Transportation can have certain mechanics trained to conduct the emission testing of the car. And then the police traffic and safety division, where your lights, your brakes, everything got to be in place, they can conduct that safety part. So together you have the two inspection to have his proper car on the road. You're speaking about hazardous waste. The EPA should have a division of hazardous waste because the EPA is like the Attorney General for the environment. Just how you have the Attorney General for the Justice Department to take care of other criminal activities, the EPA is the Attorney General for the environment. So from air to hazardous waste to toxicity, all these things, those are programs that can be developed at the EPA. And guess what? You're going to train out young people. The gasoline station you see around there, they are polluting the groundwater, they're polluting the soil. You train these guys, and they will get up and go do inspection. And how will the inspection be done? Every time a guy applies to open a business, that permit will ask them, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be processing? Whatever is on that permit, when the guy is going to do the inspection, he's going to look directly at that because that permit will tell that business what needs to be done. So when that guy show up, he or she going to look at what you're doing. With the training over time, they will begin to focus on the different areas. So I don't see myself as somebody looking for a single job. No, because right now in this country, I handle sustainability. Right now, when it comes to security, the Department of Homeland Security, if anyone came to work to my place today, once you get done with your human resources background check, your name is coming to me. I'm going to put your name into the cyber security of the Department of Homeland Security. Because what we do there, we handle classified chemicals that can cause explosion. So when you come, I will make sure that your name is put into the THF database system. That's why I don't leave from America so easily, because my name is also in there. And just to bring this out, when people say, oh, someone said they gave me $22,000, part of my responsibility when it comes to money laundering, my name is on our list. They check all my information as well. But you know, sometimes I don't listen to people out there because it's like somebody saying, that guy coming on, he's a racist guy. You don't know the man like that. So I just want to throw that in as part of my responsibility.
Now that you got it,
let me go to the land ministry. Let me go to the land ministry. The third ministry will be the Ministry of Health when it comes to public health prevention. But then there are other skills too that are very applicable. Last example. The president went and allowed other people to tell him to build a corporate office next to a refinery. It's like the guy in the gas station, the people are pumping gas or the gas spill, and he's smoking. The reason you don't build corporate office next to a process facility, because there is something called toxic catastrophic prevention. When I show you, I have places in America that got blown up from aluminum, right?
Right.
You don't want to have people who are not essential workers in the area. So what you do, you want to put in a trailer office for the manager at that site and the technical people. The administrative people, they're far away. Those are things that my role can help Liberia. But the question here is, are they willing to have someone who's going to be very straight with them? I will tell you now that they will not do it. So don't even think that they're going to call me. No, they will not call me. Because one good thing Facebook has done, it has shown to the world of every country who everyone is now. They know that Randy, that guy is very straight. When he come here, he will give up. It was not before, that back in the days, we read letter, we talk. But now Facebook, as you and I are speaking right now, you see how I'm giving you myself, how I'm introducing myself to you. So now you know what I stand for. And it's based on the standard that you either accept or you say no. And that's who I am. And that's how I want to be remembered.
So in short, you're saying that you are not being considered for a job because of the fact that you will remain consistent as you claim you are today. And that's why you
everything, not claim, but what I said. If I'm telling you right now, this is my home office. I work here during the course of the week because of the important that I play here, important role. So I'm speaking in my authority of my skills, my education, my credential, and my character. Like I told you, Judah, Liberians don't like to see people who are straight. Everything that I'm doing here, you work in corporate America. There are times your manager or your VP for operation, depending on who you report to, will come to you and tell you, look, this thing is wrong. We need to fix it. If you do that in Liberia, you are playing with some different mindset of people. And many of our people don't understand because many Liberians are more party-centric than rather being very open to national issue. Like the recent example I gave, let me just bring them one in. You see what Mark Pence did? It was not based on his support for Donald Trump. It was based on the Republican value, the American value, and his Christian faith. He was not going to say, because my boss Donald Trump is not going to that inauguration, I'm not going. No, because he knows the party will survive after Donald Trump. So what he had done, there will be people, if he ever decide to run, that will make decisions based on him standing up for the value of the party, the value of this country, and the principle that he lives by. In Liberia, it's difficult to find people of such a character.
You brought up the issue concerning the $22,000. Some said it was $18,000. Some said it was $22,000. I wanted to speak on that. I was going to push that back for a little bit down the line. Oh, okay. We got our first caller. Folks already know the phone number. Let's start taking callers here. Hello, caller, your name and where you calling from? Number seemed familiar. Hey, Controversial Ali. I knew the number seemed familiar. I'm getting to know the number little by little. Finally, I'll get it. Controversial Ali, what is your contribution? We have today our man in the hot seat on the Saturday Talk hot seat on Across Africa. Comment, questions? Go ahead. You have the line. The mic is all yours.
Well, let me just say, Randy is having a complete free ride on your show. He's having a complete ride, and this is his comfort zone. He likes to be the one for him, and that way he feels the authority of the subject matter. But I took, my little okra, red oil okra here with some fish, but let me go in the room and actually, a buttress, Lofa Julius here in bringing Randy down to the issue. I see that Randy is using the platform. I think he should pay some money for all of the commercials that he has done. Of how good of an agent he is. Well, let me just say this before I ask the tough question that Randy doesn't want to answer. I have invited Randy before to join us on definitely better, and he wanted me to specify specific issues. Knowing him, I've had conversations with him before on the Gerald Cummings show. So Randy is very specific. He likes to stick to things that he wants to stick to. So when I invited him, I did not give him any particular topic because I did not want him to say, well, this is not why you invited me. But anyway, let me just say that he has been speaking of integrity a lot, which I believe he is as a type of a person that away from Randy Dapple. But my thing is, Randy Dapple went back to the CDC after he had criticized the government to a very, very large degree. And the CDC that I know that I became a member of the embryonic stage, they're not going to forgive you. They might use you at a time when there is an election. And they might use it to go back to them, but generally, they're not going to forgive you. And Judge Ware is not even the actual forgiving type. Situation might allow him to consider, but inside his heart, he's not going to forgive. So when I saw Randy going back and forth, I do. But one of the reasons why Randy went back to that is because he had spoken with his confidant, who is the finance minister, very poorly performed finance minister. And for some reason, Randy believed that he would have gotten his share of the pie, not necessarily collecting money, but he wanted to be what he wasn't very considered. On social media, Randy wanted a certain kind of recognition from CDC and its hierarchy. He wanted to be drawn in any major conversation or any action that the government is taking. He wanted his input in the hierarchy of the CDC and that of the executive mansion. That's what Randy wanted. Randy did not just want to be on Facebook as one of the Facebook podcasters. And that's how CDC treated Randy. Because he did not feel that he had a share, he wasn't a stakeholder or considered a stakeholder. That's why he slid back. But with that said, I'm going to ask Randy this question, and I know he's not going to like me for this.
No, let me just say this to you, Ali, before you ask your question, then I'll bring the next caller in. Let me say this to you. Again, it is open. Randy did not pick whatever topic we are discussing because it was made clear. He's in a hot seat. So you can pose any question and any comment as long as you're not using profanities or attacking his personality or anything like that. So, yeah.
I thought that
Oh, no, there's nothing specific. No, it's a hot seat. Everything is acceptable except for profanities. So go ahead.
Hey, Julius.
Yeah.
Is that kind of cracking in? So if you can put on that message to the question to me.
Hold on one second. Ali, your phone is kind of, for some reason, you're not going back and forth. Initially, you were fine, but now you're kind of cracking in. It's kind of glitchy.
Okay,
all right, there you go, better.
Randy playing that voodoo from River G County, so I can't ask the question.
I know it's better now.
No. Tell him I want him to ask that question. Tell him that, please.
Okay. Information all over the airways, Randy. We want your side of this story to deny that you're sitting comfortably in your living or dining room, wherever you are. Mm-hmm. We want you to explain this thing. Exonerate yourself. We received information that through the finance minister, some cash was being disbursed to you guys considered surrogate or pundits of the CDC in the diaspora. Randy, your name has been repeatedly mentioned. What do you have to say about this accusation? Thank you so much for having me, Lofa Julius. I look forward to getting a very clear answer from Randy Dapple. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's go to the next caller here. Caller from 414, last four is 7856. That's the man, River Says Pro. River Says Pro, what's your question or comment to Mr. Dapple? Hello? Caller from 414, last four is 7856. Your name and where you calling from?
This is Pro, man. What's up, Lofa?
I'm doing good. What's your comment or question, sir?
I say I'm sorry. I felt bad. Ali beat me to the call. I had my finger right on the thing, just waiting for you to give the green light. Then he beat me to the call. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a point of pressure. I leave. Man, Dapple. Hi, Mr. Dapple. Again, he made some points from the beginning. When he talked about when you asking the question about some of the ministers that are poorly performing, what should be done about them, getting rid of them. And he made an interesting point that they should have consultants for them. And I see it differently because those jobs are professional jobs. Okay, I work in the manufacturing industry. There, as an operator, as a floor man, supervisor, they train those people. I mean, you can be trained in the technical area. But in the professional jobs, on the professional job, you are expected to be up to the task. Like when they bring a new general manager in at my company, they bring somebody from corporate. I don't usually see them. They don't even train them because that person knows what they're doing. They're already up to date. So I don't see the logic. I don't see the need. I wouldn't say logic of bringing. It's like I hire Mr. Dapple as one of the best chemical experts for my company. That's a job that's very critical. So I expect, as critical as the finance ministry, I expect Ronald Dapple to be up to the task. You don't expect me to go and get another person to come and babysit Ronald Dapple, whereas I have entrusted Ronald Dapple into that job. So for me, a spade should be a spade. He was mentioning about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, I think he fired more people than any other president I've ever seen. because you have to be up to the task. You can balance 5 people that were there up to, I think, like 30 days. So people, a state should be a state. When the person is not performing in those major areas, they need to be getting rid of instead of bringing somebody as consultation. And then my second point has to do with when he was talking about those projects. You know, I don't see, honestly, I don't see the need of people going back and forth as we started the project. Yeah, in the United States, there are road construction year after year, year after year. And I don't work in the engineering department, but I got friends who work there. I mean, I know some top people for engineers. They don't go around saying, well, this was Obama's project and we are ending it for Trump. No, this thing is just a circle. It's just a continuation. Those things have been I mean, that's a road between Ohio and Ohio and Philly somewhere. That road been going on forever. People say, of course, when George Bush down, but it's just a process. So those are my points. You know, I don't see the need of people coming back. This Ellen Dawson project and this person and you know. So thank you for having me, Lofa.
All right, thanks for your input. Randy, before you answer these questions, let me read some of the comments on here just to get the our viewers who don't have the opportunity to call in, and we will start from the bottom to the top. This comment here from Vahom Mendy Man says, Dapo, can you please print your bank statement and post for us to see whether you never received the money from Samuel Twet? And then Mariah Seaton says, now I see this is the Randy who was implicated in the Michael Gilman money saga. River says Pro, the individual who was just on the phone here, said a lot of those restrictions are not applicable to Liberia. CB Charleston's opinion, like a battery factory or another garage. And then Vahom Mendy Man again said, J. Randy Darpo, why the reason you blocked me? Right. Oh, this is the Randy Darpo here, Mariah. Okay, so actually get actual comments here. I would not read EPA check. Let me see. Dr. Mariah Seaton. Okay, Dr. Mariah Seaton said, Mayor Jefferson Koiji's job is extremely easy. Most mayors around the world are over schools, police, contracts, waste management, plus more. Anyway, please state his role and responsibility. Most often, I see him in group of young people singing, dancing, and chanting war lyrics. Boycott, Massacre, check correct. King George, you the best, Randy. Now move forward to other people who have not commented here. V. Bessie, too much corruption going on every single day. CB Charleston, I saw a program from the Agriculture Ministry today where Minister Twere was presenting, Minister Twere was present, okay? I think that ministry has started on a very fruitful program. If they continue what I saw today, Liberians will see very fruitful result unlike no other time. The planning are very exciting. Marie Padet, we know so much that we are paying his rent. Boycott P. Massacre. Julius, I think Mr. Darpo is right. Someone on your podcast is different from someone who is asked to do a piece of work. Smooth Rage, just look at, no, I'm not going to read that. Okay, and I think J. Lester River G. If George Weah gives you a job today, your tune will change. Find place to say J. Randy Darpo, King of Sycamore Tree. Let's take the next caller here. Caller, your demon, where you calling from?
Hey, Lofa, this is Kesley Della, and I'm calling you from Texas.
Mr. Double, welcome to the show. This is the hot seat, and today we have Mr. J. Randy Darpo in the hot seat. What is your comment or question for Mr. Darpo?
Thank you very much, my brother, and thank you for bringing Randy on the show. What you love to know, some of you guys who do this talk show thing, you know why people respect you and put some of you people in certain bracket and put other people in low bracket?
No.
The reason is consistency.
Okay.
If you want to be a talk show host, you have to be consistent. with the issues of the day, with reality of today.
Okay.
You can't be a Randy Dapple today or other supporter.
Mm-hmm.
The next day you flip flop. You are in opposition. You tell people that you do not stand for anything. And people who do not stand for anything always go for nothing. With no disrespect to your host, I think that is the kind of bracket I want to put him into. I want to classify him. Randy Dapple on his show, sorry to say for me, I ain't got no problem with blogging. I have been on a show, Lofa, you know how I talk. I have never, ever used profanity on anybody's talk show. Never. Before. I was on his brother's show one time. He had a program. I tried to tell him the same thing. I said, hey, Randy, you have to be stable. You know, don't be here today and then tomorrow you are there. People will not respect you. People will feel that, I mean, you are just going for just anything. And guess what? One of the viewers under his comment said, Randy, this man don't belong on the show. Opposition blogging. This brother wasted no time on the blogging. Yeah. Randy was on the show today, you will insult the opposition. Tomorrow he's there insulting the government. I don't know. So can you tell us where he is actually? What's his location? Is it actually for Liberia or some set?
Well, Randy,
You know,
I mean, why it is true that I don't want to have to respond for Randy, but I think he addressed that earlier in the show that
I'm sorry, I came on late. I'm very sorry I came on late.
Okay, no, that's okay. But he said he's not here to defend a specific a political party. He's here to work in the interest of Liberia. So he will fluctuate as time goes by. But I would not be his spokesperson. I would allow him the opportunity to address your question. Maybe he might be thinking a little different, but the previous discussion or based on what we started, that's what he said. I mean, he's just trying to be.
Granted. Okay. You fluctuate based on it, like I said, based on the discussion of the day.
Okay.
But if the discussion of the day, wherein you have people saying the reality, and you are going contrary to that, and then you come on and tell us that you are in the interest of Liberia, then it makes it hard, very hard for one to believe that you are actually in the interest of Liberia. Because some of the things this brother supported in the past, I wouldn't want to go back to
like
them.
what? No. Like what? You can't. I mean, the reason for being open is here. What are some of the things being supported in the past? Because I personally, I asked him again when we started. Randy, you appear to me to fluctuate a lot, and I see a lot of inconsistency. And he explained to me why he may be viewed as such. So if you were here, what do you think that you need to understand when it comes to J. Randy Dapple that you may think that he's inconsistent in his
hold on. Randy Dapple initially when this $16 billion business came out.
Okay.
Randy Dapple was one of those who was supporting the government a whole lot. Every time he was on his private talk show, sometimes we go there to watch. We will not take part actually to say we're commenting like we on other talk show like this.
Okay.
Sometimes we just want to see who is who. You know, he was defending. He was even as far as defending the fellow minister. So if you would just tell me just yesterday that this very fellow minister you are talking about was a very bad guy, I mean, was a very good man, very, very good indeed in your eye, and today you come out the fellow minister who haven't changed a still a thing, and then you come out and tell me that the fellow minister is bad today, and you want me to believe you? Come on. Okay. And you were telling me that we are did nothing bad about getting those condominiums yesterday, and then today you come out now to tell me that what the real did is bad. Then where are we going? Then who are you?
Okay.
You have to come straight, my brother.
All right, brother.
You know what I'm saying? So
let's give him the opportunity to respond to some of these questions and comments we hear since we're not getting a lot of call in. But Mr.
Yeah, I want you to do that because just yesterday this brother was insulting the law all over the place. Okay. He was a very big antagonist to the law. But today, he's a fan of the law. A very big fan of the law. So, I mean, I hope you can really address himself to those things. And you know, when you start flapping like this, my brother, I bet people will not respect you anytime you come in. I don't know a talk show. Okay. I hope you will change and go for real things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Folks, if you're just joining us, we want to welcome you to the hot seat. Our studio guest today is J. Randy Doppel, and we appreciate your presence here today. Mr. Doppel, would you like me to repeat any of the questions? I would like to. We can start with Aliyu Samba concern or his question here to address the issue about the $22,000 or $18,000 that was allegedly provided to you. Some of you supporters at the time of the current government by the finance minister. And there are quite a few people out here actually are asking for clarification on this. Would you mind speaking to this and giving us detail as to what happened, even if you know of anything that may have transpired?
First of all, you don't need to remind me of everything, because as a professional person, I will keep note. All right.
Okay, great.
So let me address the question. I think I would say this generally: most of the guys who call in here are people from the opposition. Most of them are from the opposition, so they are not coming with an open mind. An open mind individual will be one who will take different thought process to determine why things are the way they are. The first gentleman I called, if I recall, I think he should be from I think he and D-Flow got the same show, if I'm not mistaken. He inboxed me one time and said he wanted me to come on the show. And I asked him the same question I asked you, Julius. What is the content of the interview? Because I want to make sure that the interview does not end like Ellen Johnson said the interview. And he's like, well, we want to discuss what's going on right now. And I said, as far as I'm concerned, I cannot discuss any issue with regards to the speculation that money is going around and people are implicating me. And then we left off on there. So when he come out here and said, I was looking for recognition from the CDC, to address that recognition issue, there is a yes and there is a no. The yes there is, yes, I needed it to recognize what I am expecting to see the CDC doing. Everyone in that call right now, guess what? They didn't come out to say, oh, you see that Randy guy? He one time said, if we don't do the right thing, he was going to come back here and criticize we are. And that's how I know they are oppositions. Because Julius, those things are on video. They are on recording. So you see, when the way you can tell someone is in a party sentiment mood, if they come with inadequate information. That's when you know.
Brother was also, he was a member of the CDC though.
Okay, yeah, but what the different aspect? Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any information that I have, and I just told you about. There's nowhere where he was on a platform and made any comment that if we doesn't do the right thing, I will come back here. I'm on record. I got the video, I got the audio, and I can play it. Even when I went on Focus on Africa, they play some of my video, and I like that because that will show who I am. So when the first guy came and said, "Oh, the man, he said this, he said that," why can't you say, all right, on November the 6th, that Randy said this? Let me play it for you here because I have to respond like a real gentleman here. Let me play it for you here.
I always say this. I am supporting him Ambassador we are today. If he does become president, which he will, and he starts to screw up, trust me, I'm a well-qualified person who works for one of the biggest pharmaceutical industry in America. I don't need job in Liberia. I will come right back here. And if you two do not come to sit with me, I will come back here and start to expose some of the things that I think that Ambassador William is not doing for the people of Liberia.
So you hear that? Yeah. So these are things that, when I tell you, I said, Julius, most of our modern partisans today, they don't discuss things on the objectivities. They discuss things on the party line. Because when you come and don't know somebody, and you want to criticize, you should ask yourself, out of 100%, how many percent do I know about this person? These are commitments that I made during the campaign. I should have said no. I'm not going to answer that question because I may have an intent. But you know what I'm learning now from Liberian people? We don't love the truth. Yes, Liberian people don't love the truth. So that will take care of that. Now, when you talk about recognition, yes, I was looking for recognition. I was looking for recognition because, again, on one of my shows, like I told you, I made so many suggestions and recommendations to the president to encourage the minister to come up with 3 to 5 year plans. The reason many of them are coming up today and saying that the government official cannot perform because I needed that recognition. And he should be the one today taking that video and say, Randy said this before. Randy said this. Randy said, if you guys don't do this thing, it will happen. And the education minister just confessed. And here is Randy video here. But are they going to be sincere to themselves? No. Because he is looking for political relevance on Facebook. He won't be like other people. So he will not bring the good side that is already on file. It's already in digital history to say Randy video is here and I can say it. He will not do those things. So the recognition that I'm looking for and I was looking for is to save the government from the humiliation they're going through today. Yes. Now, let me come to the second caller. All right.
Well, would you before you go to the second caller, though, he had a couple questions. The second issue was the issue concerning the funds that may have been dispersed allegedly by some.
Yeah, you see, I love the part where you put allegedly, because whoever came out with any allegation, it is incumbent upon that person to bring their proof. I live in the United States here. If I send money to you right now, Julius, you will go receive that money and you will have a receipt for that money. And if you came up and say, Randy sent money to me, and I ask you for the proof, you will bring that proof. If you don't have it, you will find a way to get it. If anybody comes out and say 18,000, 22,000, how can I come to verify what that person is saying if there is no proof? I'm not saying that I will not address any issue, but what I wanted to understand is to go to the people who are bringing the story out and say, you just come in with your empty mouth. We live in America here. We don't take things by somebody saying something. Do you have proof? Because all of them are speaking right now. If I ask them about the check that the federal government gave right now, and they say they didn't give it to me, and I say they give it to you, they're going to go to their bank, they're going to bring that proof to disprove me. So I'm not going to follow what I would describe as a Liberian lie will only become true when some Liberians want to believe those lies without evidence. I just told you that as part of the Department of Homeland Security, and I think many people listen to you and will listen to you in the future don't understand this thing I'm telling you. But if you ever get in trouble in the country and you come across the Department of Homeland Security, that when you say what Randy is saying is true, whoever brought that information out, let them bring their proof. Then it will be incumbent upon me. If they brought the proof and say, oh, Randy, you had the proof here. Somebody go to me. Send it to me. I'm going to evaluate it and say, I think this person makes sense. Let's go on interview. But you see, Liberians on Facebook, they are not about lesson learned. They want to just have this soap opera drama. Like they were expecting me when that woman said the thing for me to come up. Oh, yeah, that woman. No. I don't believe that. I am a very different Liberian. Because at my place of work, when an employee is misbehaving, when he or she has an issue, or somebody comes and tell me something as a manager, I don't just take side. I call both people to provide me the evidence. And with that evidence, I can begin an investigation. I may be a Liberian, but I don't think they won. If the proof comes, then you can call me to have that conversation. Until then, I'm not going to be the one. Whoever brought the news, let it come with the source. That's how it works. If you call CNN right now and say something burning, they'll tell you, say, where's your source? You're not going to say, oh, but I just told you something burning. No. So they will get used to this kind of behavior because Liberians over the years have been trained not to verify things, but to just believe things. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell. Now, the second caller talk about consultancy. He worked for a company, like one myself and many people here. Company have what we call Operation Excellent Team. The Operation Excellent Team guys are a group of professionals. If you're on the manufacturing line, they are guys who are very schooled in lean system. They make work easy. They are guys who are schooled in project development. Because if it's a corporation, it has a team of people. The government, on the other hand, don't have schools of people. What they have is institutional knowledge of people. But in our country, by the time one party take over, it say was someone out there for 27 years, they kick them out. And that person go without knowledge. It's not like the company. So when I ask to bring on consultants, it's because number one, there is not even an institutional knowledge of people on the job. And to get a job done is to save cost and money. Consultant will not be riding $50,000 car. Consultant will not be getting gas slip. You only coming to do a piece of job with a deadline and present that report and expect the people to do the second phase, that is to train and go through those things. So company, we gotta be careful with company and we gotta be careful with government. All right, company make profit, government don't make profit. They just generate revenue. Maybe that's another way why they're changing it around. And you talk about people should not talk about the project is from Ellie to Wea. I think that message should be redirected to member of the government officials and member of the partisan, because what they should be doing is what he's doing right now, or what he just said to us. No matter the project, let us say this is an ongoing project that we are carrying out for the sake of these people. Everything that you do must have a starting point and an end point. The document I posted online, it shows when that project started and when it ended. Maybe I guess the white man ways or 20 is different from the black man ways. But they don't have to go out there to go talk about it. But the fact that most of the partisans of the CDC, they are in denial of what he said, that these things can be inherited. So that teaching must be download to these people. Download, or Librarian will say download it to these people so that they can understand, because leadership is about teaching and leading. All right? It's about teaching and leading. Like I said in the scenario, when you come to a group home, the guy that leading will tell you what that client experienced in the past. They will tell you that. Now, let me come to the sister who said, this is the Randy here. Yes, that sister is surprised because I don't live among Liberians. I live in the suburb. And all the years I spent in the country, I don't go around Liberia. And I'm not a popular guy that you find on Facebook anywhere. But I'm glad that she's shy to see me. But I would say this to everybody. Do not judge the book by the color, but by the content. You have to interact with me before you get to know who I am. Right?
Now, Randy, let me just hold you there to a quick point here. You made a point here about you don't live in the Liberian community. You live in a suburb. What difference does that make to your character or who you are in person? Does your area of inhabitant, does it make any difference as to?
Yeah, it does. Remember,
how so?
It does, because remember, I'm trying to make your audience understand that the Liberian community, they behave in a very unfamiliar way. Like for example,
Mhm.
somebody came up from nowhere. They don't even know me. You haven't seen it, and myself taking photo, and said the minister gave me $22,000. Banking institution in this country since 9/11, they have put in place measure that even if somebody Wachovia, Bank of America, if you subscribe to the bank, you go deposit cash tomorrow, they will say no. If you send money from anywhere, it land in that account, there's a possibility to push that money back and they will acknowledge you. Because what? The monetary policy against money laundering is something that many Liberians in the country know about. That nobody can just take any money and deposit in your account. Because why? Banks, they know how often you take pay. They know when you get extra money. And one money, they just get out and see that heavy money, it will raise an alarm. But in the Liberian community, they don't take this thing as a way to put some level of character on themselves. They will just take this thing and run away with it. But when you live in a community, hold on now, let me land.
Let me just put this across. You made a point here that based on your income, the job you do here, you are literally at a point where you can have such amount of money deposited in your account, okay, based on your income. Certain amount of money can be deposited in your account, and you're working as an environmental engineer. Are you saying that amount of money, you don't make that amount of money? There was a point in time where you even made available to the public pay stub or something in one of your videos. And I want to be, you can correct me.
Yeah. Let me expand on that. Take you bring that point. Let me expand on that. All right.
Literally.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Yes. Let me expand on that a little bit.
Okay.
There are those who take pay weekly. Whether it's $1,000 going there, whether it's $500, that weekly pay is the frequency that it comes in there. There are those who take pay every 2 weeks, whether it's 5,000, 6,000, but it comes weekly.
What about
not coming as a whole sum?
What about those who take loans? Those who
are taking loans, the loan will be processed. Listen up. Those who are taking loan, the loan will be processed by the bank. The bank will have the documentation. The bank will make that deposit for you.
Individual loans. You can take a loan from a relative based on your income, understanding your wealth, so you can also have a repayment term. If you have
when you listen up, when you take a loan, whether it comes from a loan learning agency,
right, or personal,
right, you're going to take that check. It's going to be deposited. They're going to verify the source of that money, but it's done internally.
Exactly.
Giving the money done internally. If you Lofa Julius came from Liberia and say, Randy, I'm going to give you $35,000. If I take that money to the bank, it's going to be a concern, because the bank already know how things are structured here to move money from one place to another. They will want to know where that money is coming from.
Okay,
you know that, and everybody knows that.
But Randy, have you ever heard of wire transfer from one to another?
When you're doing the wire transfer, your bank will know the information that you got, your name, your address, everything. Just how you do Western Union, everything will be there. So that to that point.
Okay,
hold on. To that point, whoever coming up with information, that is why I'm asking them for the source.
Okay,
because if you say you get something, if you say something, don't just come with your mouth, because I'm not a Liberian who will just come and react to things. No, bring the information that verified to you. Money and the information is here was given to me. So that we can have this conversation.
Right. So now you just made it clear that limits the possibility of the accuser to obtain such information. Like you rightfully said, you said the bank conducts these observation or research or validation in-house. It's not a public thing that is done. So that limits the ability of that person.
No, but you see, they don't live on speculation. Don't live on speculation. And if somebody see you in a store as a black man,
and
say, I see an African American here. He's stereotyping you, but there must be a confirmed reason. With all the red tapes that's in the country, if somebody come up with a conspiracy theory and say, "Oh, they gave the man money because he got a $400,000 home," I saw somebody coming to them saying that the CDC pay my rent. If you live in America, do you pay rent when you own a home? You know, sometimes my daughter tell me, say, "You like to brag too much." I said, "I will calm down because sometimes Librarian Book can take me up to that level." All right. So I'm not going to go there. But the fire is whoever, and the bottom line, whoever is coming up. I know the great country of the United States. And like somebody said, so I'm going to jump to here. Somebody said, "Can you show your bank statement?" Guess what? I will not only show my bank statement. I will call the bank. Because I will make that announcement that, guys, y'all be ready. Okay. I will call the bank. And after all the modalities, I will say, did anybody deposit such amount in my account?
At certain time. Okay, great.
Because when I said, let them bring the proof, you know, if you don't know me, don't judge me by what other people say. Because I'm the guy who said, if we are not doing the right thing. I'm the guy who said, I'm not going to Liberia to go and get in a specific position. I'm the guy who telling you guys that we cannot give me no job because I'm very strict. So if they want to believe on the party sentiment, because Liberian platform, most of them based on, oh, we cross the CDC or we cross the, no. Whoever got that proof, let them bring that proof. And then you, Julius, will call you and say, "Julius, I'm ready to give you all the proof." The bank statement, I will redact certain area so you can see it, because every month I got my bank statement. And guess what? Even up to my 1999, 98, 97 tax paper, I still got them here. Even, let me give you that one thing here. This is my Tottenham something here from Tottenham High School. What I'm trying to tell you guys, I keep documentation a lot. So whoever get that information out there, let them bring the proof. Several times, I posted the finance minister picture side to side. And I told him, "Mr. Minister, come on my show. Let me ask you." Even though some people say I'm playing devil advocate, but I want to ask the finance minister. And I will say this here. Y'all go and class D say he paid my rent. The man is in Canada, right?
Okay.
Canada is easy. You can wire transfer money, right? So why can't you show the proof? You see, when the guy go on the show, they go with political sentiment and not with an objective mindset. The man rent in Canada. He said, "Oh, we pay the man rent." So why can't you show the thing? Show the receipt. If you pay my mortgage, show the receipt. You think if they had it, well, how come they went quiet today? Why you think they went quiet? And I'm the one speaking now.
Okay, so let me ask you a question though, Randy. Could it be possible that the funds may have been dispersed, but you probably just did not end up as one of the beneficiaries?
I can't answer to that question right now. If the proof comes, then we'll be able to discuss all those things. Okay. Because I don't want to live on speculations.
Okay. So, I mean, so if the proof came from someone else other than the accuser, who is some lady, I don't know who this lady is, but if
there you go.
Be able to obtain, if we're able to obtain the proof from the finance minister to say, yes, I dispersed this amount to a certain group of people in the United States, would that also be?
Oh, yeah, like you said, if it comes directly from the finance minister, fine. Right. If it comes from the finance minister, fine. If it comes from that lady, fine. Whoever it comes from, I will want to make sure that I verify those information. If it makes sense, because remember, the thing here is, the lady who came, she said, they put the money in my account.
Okay.
And that is why I'm asking for the proof. Because I will go to my bank and I even have my online and print all my statement. And you know, when I do my teaching on Facebook, I will show everything to you guys and say, yeah, is it here? Let's go through it. Because if that lady was in America today and I'm still thinking about it, I was planning to get a lawyer if she were here to go to court, because I want to prove beyond all reasonable doubt. But I'm still considering it. The reason I need that proof, I can't go sue her right now. Because if I go sue her right now, her lawyer because they are white people, not black people, not Liberian people. They will say, my man, you got any proof? Somebody can go out there and say something about you.
Randy, you continue to sound a little bit demeaning towards Liberians. Why?
No, I'm not saying it demeaning, but no. Here's the thing. Not all Liberians. Let me hope that.
Thank you.
Not all Liberians, all right? Not all Liberians. And I apologize for that. A little bit over myself here. But here's the thing here, all right, Julius, and thanks for acknowledging that. What can really sometimes make me to struggle about our community of Liberians? They live in the country. They live here. Right now, if somebody tell them that the IRS put money in your account and they know that money not there, they will go beyond all means to prove what they're talking about. So when somebody come on and say they put money in our main account, for them to even say, you know what you see doesn't make no sense. Can we ask, do you have proof? Because the allegation you're making, it can even get you and sue in court. But they will not do it. They will just take that information and run with it. And if I see that, then that when now I can come and challenge the Liberian community in America. If there were some people in a part of Liberia that don't understand the processes that we go through in America, I will be a little bit lenient on them. But not people that live here. So just take information. So right now, if I let's say all the things you're telling me now. If I went, let's say if I was arguing that time, let's say the lady made a statement yesterday. And then when I went right back and called thousands of people, because many people in our Liberian community let us see big numbers. And I went back and said, oh, that's true. In fact, I told 10,000 how much I gave to Lofa Julius. You know what going to believe it? Your nigga now going to be in trouble now. And no matter what you say, they're not going to be convinced. But Randy said it. Randy said he gave 10,000. But they really got, oh, my man, Lofa. You see, that is the Liberian mindset that I know it will not change because it's part of them. Only their children will get away from no mindset. Because even your own child, when you tell them go to bed, will ask you why, mommy. Because they want to demand explanation. But our people here, I think the part of the reason, Julia, is they're not coming in a hot seat like where I'm sitting now. They are not in some community of intellectual Liberians who will tell them what to say and when to say it. And they just run with these things. If there's any proof, I will come here and provide my side and let the public decide. If I'm here telling you that the WIA administration didn't do a good job, and I'm telling you that they will not hire me because of what I stand for, what more about something that I know deep down in my heart that is not true? But let them bring the proof. Because right now, if I bring whatever I get from my bank statement, that means I've been lying. That means I get another bank account. What will convince them? You know that the thing. That means that's what my bank account I meant, bro. That's what my bank account I meant, bro. Then the next thing I will go call for the FBI, will go call for Interpol, that will do all the investigation. Still, the Liberian will say, my man, maybe somebody can only pay with that money there or some kind of shit. That's how all this speculation will be going from town to town. So I'm asking Liberians, you all need to slow down on these things and ask questions. And that will make it very important. And the reason why I say I don't live among Liberians is because, one, I feel that if I live in certain community of Liberia, I will not grow as much as I want to grow. And that's a fact. There are some Liberians who live here. Right now where I live, I got Kenyans, I got Somalians. These are high-profile Africans that live around here. Okay. If they hear something, I go, that guy there, he did it. No. There are some good Liberians, better than me. There are some better than me. And I will admit. But the difference here is the way they think is different from how the majority thinks. And we don't have people on Facebook who are encouraging these people. Because I watched the video when the guy called the girl from wherever she was calling from. He said, you see, do you really have proof? But instead, he was leading her in error. Oh, so they get it there. And you polluting the people's mind with conspiracy theory. And you giving that person and you embolden them to come and say things. Now, all those who cheering today, what if something similar happened to them? That when they will say, oh, now I feel what Randy feel. No. So I want to be spoken here. Or again, I will say to that issue Whoever came up with that story, let them bring the proof, Lofa. I will go across all the network because I will start calling people so I can come and tell my side of the story. And I can guarantee anybody that I will do it.
Thank you. Randy, before you go any further, let me just say to folks, I noticed that we had a little bit of conflict in programs here. The coverage of Senator Darius DeLawrence, in Bone County should have been carried on the network. I guess they carried, so people were also, we were able to carry it, but it's just not on here. And
okay, all right, yeah.
There was not a lot of coverage on there, but we just want to apologize about that. The reporters were able to carry it. It was recorded. You could go on the network page. It's right there, and you can follow and get Senator Darius DeLawrence.
And Judah, let me say this to one of the callers that said that I'm on Darius DeLawrence's side. You see, these guys don't know much about me. I would encourage Liberians to engage me. I started knowing Darius DeLawrence in 2014 when he came to go to Strayer in Delaware. Darius DeLawrence and us used to be on Radio LIB every evening. We talked from 9 o'clock all the way to 2 a.m. in the morning. And for every time Mr. DeLawrence used to stop, I always used to tell Mr. DeLawrence, when you go to Liberia, when you start to do what you say, that when I would believe it. And during the time I was constructively criticizing the Weah administration, I still got my post here. And I posted something that said Darius DeLawrence is the father of modern Liberian politics. And I believe that one day he will be president. But I said, what will really give me the commitment to DeLawrence is when DeLawrence get up and answer the question for me. And I did ask DeLawrence, the motorcycles, no green two-legged motorcycle, along with a fleet of pickup truck during the election. How did your party manage to get the fleet of moving vehicle? DeLawrence didn't answer that question. And then why I differ with him, because DeLawrence in America told us way back that 2 a.m. in the morning is the country where when you come to the traffic light, 2 a.m.
Right.
When that red light is on, no car, no police, people will wait. And I told him, I said, that's what we call transparency from the part of the surveillance population. So one time he was on his show and I appeared, he said, "They Randy guy here. He said, I will be president one day." And I responded to him, I said, "DeLawrence, until you can answer the question for me, it will give me some leverage of confidence in you." Now, and he said, "The man hit DeLawrence." No, politics is about winning strategy. When I say DeLawrence is this, DeLawrence is that, do you hear me causing DeLawrence? Like he said, no, that was not insult. DeLawrence is incompetent. DeLawrence is empty. Weah is incompetent. Those are political terminology that we have not cataloged into the Liberian political dictionary. So people don't understand these things. So when you're using these things, they say you're insult. But the guy who go and cause people mad, that guy will get almost 2,000 people listening to him, causing their private parts. But this guy will not come on your show and say, "Julius, we are concerned women and men of Liberia." That thing that guy is saying over there, we totally disagree with him. No, but a poor guy like me, who when I come on that, when I got 10 people or 2, I'm the one becoming their target. And I know why. Because they know what I say is very constructive, and the consistency, if I'm meeting it, it will change the course of their mindset. But the guy who will go out there, Junior, think about it. We all got sister. We all got mom. What is in any political strategy book that say you must cause people mom? And I have not seen a group of Liberians, whether sedition, whether opposition, banding together to say this guy needs to be stopped. Where are they? And that where again, I will tell you that I don't live in the Liberian community. Because if you live in a kind of community, and one day you go to work and you have a very good friends, and somebody just get on your phone. You know, nowadays, you're an internet guy, you're a technology, you're an engineer like myself. Sometimes the Facebook get a superscript, and somebody just, maybe your daughter, your friend, somebody who friends with you, or your wife, look at that kind of thing. What may happen? What may be the reaction? It's not only about politics. Just how I'm in a high seat, I look forward to seeing Liberian women coming out. Because just recently, flooding on Facebook, a guy told, and I'm not trying to get out of track, but I'm just trying to relate to a guy who's saying that Dillon, and I will against Dillon. No, it's about value. It's about transparency. They're asking me for information, right? And I'm guaranteeing them that if I get that proof, we will come and have the conversation here. So I also want to appeal to them. If somebody seeing a picture of a naked woman, think about your mom. But you see them spreading it all over, Julius. So how can I live in a kind of circle of community of Liberians? Why? What will they benefit if they put their sister out there? What are they benefiting when they listen to somebody who just take women private part courses as a fun? I mean, you should go to the guy had normalized the thing now that people don't even believe that it is wrong, it is inappropriate. But you'll find thousands and thousands of Liberians listening to those guys. So when I come on and say I don't live in the Liberian community, then they want to take offense to what I'm saying. No, I'm saying it because I'm getting it from the reaction of our people. If Liberians start to behave better, we will all live together. Let's forget about 1989 and go back to where we were when Joe took office into trouble time. You will not find somebody doing no kind of thing, Julius. So in order for my children, your children, in order to not adopt that kind of way of life, we must separate ourselves. Even the Bible says, well, be unequally yoked with non-believers, right? But there are people who will go and talk to the believer. So it is based on the biblical principle. It may not be the exact phrase, but I'm interpreting it for myself, that I decided to take this kind of approach. So I don't want people to see me, and like the guy, other guy said, I'm a flip-flopper. No. The guy who said I'm a flip-flopper, in fact, he told you that came on the show. So you see, if we are giving an exam, that guy a flip-flop, because you help the guy. He understand the thing. And that's why you see sometimes I say sometimes we gotta be careful with our people, because our people will only come and like maybe the bad guy beating the guy, the hero in the show. So you can say, yeah, man, but man, did you watch the show yet? And you were beating over there. Oh, I didn't know. I just come in. Okay, so that's why he did. He came on the show, and I think he came with that mindset that I once black him, and it was for a reason. But he took that as a coverage of himself to discuss things. Oh, the man flip-flopping. Politics is 2 + 2. The question I get to ask him, has he ever come out to tell us on Facebook what any of the political leader he support, to look you in the face and say, Julia, I want you to come and show today. The thing I come did today, I did for with him. None of them has said it. Because you know why? They are not true to the party. Someone who is a leader that will challenge a person when a required challenge will come up. But I tell you, all of them.
So with that said, due to time, due to time constraint, I will let us to kind of wrap this up real quick here. I want to pose this question to you. You have made it clear that the CDC government have failed, or is really well on the way to failing.
Let me say this. The CDC government 3 years is on a 70% performance. That means they got a C- or a F, depending on the grades. They are not done so well. They don't honor 70% in terms of the grade letters.
Okay. Now let's compare the hopeful. I mean, hopefully the saviors to come and kind of save us from the CDC government. What we have the CPP and we have other political party. What is your hope and expectation, or what would you rather see come 2023 from opposition and the CDC government in order for you to voice your support for one or the two?
Well, let me start with the last question. As far as the support go now, Julius, if I'm supporting, or if I do decide to support anyone now, and I want you to keep this video, it's going to be based on my professional career now. If you're running a party and you want me to join, I'm going to come and be part of you to represent the interests of the environment that include our natural resources. That would be my interest now. Number two, if I do decide, I'm not going to go and join on party lines. I'm going to go join again on a consultancy basis with the hope of getting my expertise to helping your party succeed. So it's not going to be about party because, like somebody said here, that Mr. Weir doesn't forgive people easily. You see, when I tell you guys that I don't like to hear this say, I heard that so many times from a lot of people. Oh, we don't forgive people. We don't forgive people. I heard that so many times, Lofa. But guess what? I wanted to be the witness for myself. So that way I can say, I did not only hear it, but I experienced it. Mr. Weir, he doesn't say anything to all those who feel that he has done it wrong, to one day come up and say, look, I forgive everyone who said I did something bad to them. My arms are open. And call some names and say, I welcome you guys. That went after his term. I would say yes to a point. And some of you guys get this. So, as I'm saying this to say that the CDC party, if they are not going to be open up, it's left with them. But when it comes to the CPP, I want the CPP, if they want to survive and they want to succeed, they should have one thing in mind. A political party is established for one major and primary reason, and that is to win. And in order for you to win in the democratic process, never reject anybody. CDC support the one time. Never reject anybody. But what you want is just that number to win. So, in short, CPP, in order for them to win, whether somebody coming from this party, they should send that message out to all the members. Or we open your arm because we need numbers to win. That will be the first party reconciliation that they can take to the national level to have a general reconciliation. 2, they need to have a plan because the CDC government is teaching everyone, unless some guys are not paying attention. But the CDC government, the reason they are struggling with performance today is because, one, from the get-go, they never vet the right people. And I think Riverset Pro tried to throw light on that. They never vet people who are very vast and experienced. They never vet those people. 2, their programs were not actually being driven from ministry standpoint with a program and the objective and action plan that will be delivered on a quarterly basis for people to see that is across all ministry. What they are doing right now is all selective. One ministry doing it, other ministry not doing it. It should be on a collective and equilibrium bar. So all those things that are being considered as the missed opportunity, I'm hoping that the CPP is taking a lesson learned from this thing, because if they don't do it, they will also be criticized, Lofa Julius. Because a plan with a vision will show everyone, they're like, oh, in the car. Those are you guys that came, like everyone on the plane. When you in a plane, by the time they are setting area closer to the United States, you see that big GPS. So you all know where you're going. Everybody on that plane will see that big dashboard with the GPS showing you guys where you're going. The way administration don't have the vision. They just the air travel can will soon be hitting DC or will soon be hitting New York. No, the plan will be visible for people to see. So let them take all the negatives that the we administration is displaying and turn those things into positive. That you recycling things.
I got two more
different products.
I got two more questions for you, and we will close up on here.
Okay.
My second to the last question here will be, of all of the names floating in the air right now, we have Senator Darius DeLong, possible that could be serving as the next political leader or maybe presidential candidate. We have Alexander Cummings. We have Benani Ure. We have what's his name? Joseph Barker. Of all of those names I just mentioned, which would you prefer to see stepping up in that capacity to serve as the possible next president of the Republic of Liberia, and why? Be specific.
Well, yes, I would take DeLong just how I chose George Weah, I would take DeLong.
Why?
I would take DeLong because DeLong is from a political background that has experienced almost everything that all politicians has experienced. But what set him aside recently, and I showed to me that he can make progress, is the ability to stand his ground. He believes in what he says. But the only precondition that I'm worried about, if Costa is coming in a defense, he has to be very careful with Costa because Costa can destroy him. Because think about it, Costa is very controlling. With a little number Costa got, he see that as a political leverage. And if they don't cave in, Costa don't have all the friends across the country, and that could hamper DeLong. Because for every process you carry out, there may be something that you must be watchful for. Everything is not perfect. Costa is one of the imperfect person that could make DeLong or break DeLong. And I think to make DeLong to be what he wants, when Costa comes with any suggestion or idea, they must both discuss it, and DeLong should be firm in that. One example, how would they want to bring Costa into the picture when Costa has certain issue with the government? This part, the government can be written up by the opposition. They are the legitimate government.
So that would you literally going into my next question because they would have been the current issue with Costa and the government. But since you just answer everything into
what I think should happen. Remember, DeLong is a newly elected senator. He got the favor of the people. Normally, it's also re-elected too. So I think there should be a lesson learned, and there should be a humanitarian ground that they should have taken. One, let Costa know. Costa, I know you don't believe in the government, but you guys, they were elected, they are legitimate, they are put the crown over your head or the warrant. What we're going to do here is we are going to appeal to the public and appeal to the government for the peace of this country to let these things go. And let's see how the media will respond. But to want to portal him through the radio station, I think that was the wrong approach. They need to address that from a legal standpoint, appeal process. Because look, in as much I don't agree with many things Costa has said, people kill people in our country and they made them 9 years senator. What about somebody who they say fake some kind of document? To hell with that. You see, that's some of the reason why I'm telling you guys that if I'm in the CDC government, there will be an issue that will argue with them. No, man. Let's be frank here. If we want to move the country forward, let's give him a second chance. Let's give him a second chance. Everybody made mistake. Who now can come out and say they're not in our government and don't have green card, don't have citizenship right now? If we want to be holding people on to account, let's give me a second chance. And Costa, on the other hand, too, if I were DeLong and Nomi Kanga, I say, look, Costa, you don't have to insult the president. Be on the issue. Be about the issue. There are young people who following you. From what they hear you say, they could copycat the same behavior. So that could be the same. Now, when it comes to Cummings, it's going to be a very difficult thing. And I can see this. Cummings may end up joining CDC. You know why?
Why?
And I'll be very open to all your audience here. Uncle Joe got a very bad scorecard with the Liberian people. You better not you get a very bad scorecard with the Liberian people. Cummings, now, Cummings is only being found guilty by association, but not by performance. Because he are not working in the government to have anything. Cummings is only guilty by association. So he can either join with DeLong and begin to wipe away some of those suspicions or be his own. Where Cummings screw up his association, when they all went to court, if I were going to be the one advising Cummings, when they went to court with the late Bronsky and the result came out, Cummings should have played the political gamble to say, you know what, I'm going to tell my supporters to support George Weah. Why? Because there's a possibility that George Weah will slip up because he's the shining star. Don't go for the guy who is not a shining star. And say, I will put my supporter behind George Weah. One reason here is, I know he didn't perform good in the Senate, but as far as corruption goes, he is not being seen with corruption. I don't care what Cummings, what you will think of him, what Boca will think of him. If Cummings had done that today, with all the screwing we are doing today, Cummings will not campaign too much. Because Cummings ground will be, look what we are doing today. I gave him my support. I felt that he was not, a guy who was corrupt. But look what he had done today. He was going to be in a better place.
Randy, you supported President Weah. You find it difficult to even defend the decision. The decision to support President Weah. So how would the political leader of an establishment be able to defend such decision?
Because what communists fails to realize, those guys, Walker was earning for 12 years to screw up the country.
Okay.
Yuri had tried. He never won. All right? Brodsky had tried. He never won. These are people that the Liberian people they now want.
Mm-hmm.
So he coming in with a clean character.
Mm-hmm.
Play your character right. Look at all these people there. Because it's politics. If you think coming was for for Yuri, Walker, and how do you call it, Bronsky, why did he establish ANC? That's what we call dirty politics. The reason you join with them to go to court is to verify the irregularities. But then when you come back, you take all that union jacket and put it down and say, you know what? I have to gamble here. Yeah, my people support we are. Why? Because I want to take the greatest gamble that if possible that when you screw up, I will be the winner. Politics is about making sound decisions. And he had done that today. Like I said, our owner going to campaign for Borka. When Ellie became president for the second time, and Borka said, you know, I'm going on medical leave. And if Borka would have come by and said, gentlemen, Eddie screwed the first year. They squandered money. So I decided to quit from Ellen. That would be a strong ground to campaign for Borka. But Borka, John, Ellen, had that to Dre and Snoop Dogg would ride the car to the wheel fall off. Then he coming back and say, you're forgive me. No, you already destroyed the car. How going to elect you? So coming should have learned from those things to be what he wanted to be today. So I see on our pike, Delon is right now at the top. But the only thing Delon needs to focus on is this Costa guy. Because remember, the voting population in our country is a combination. Even though 65% and counting consider the youth, some of the youth still listen to their parents. So they got the older population, they got the baby boomer population, they got the teens, and they got the new new voters. Those different population of people, they must constantly be very sensitive if they don't decide to run for the presidency. Because in every election, they got those who will vote for the opposition no matter what. And they got those who will vote for the pro-government no matter what. But the one in the middle, they are on a pendulum swing. And if they don't let Costa behavior because they don't, they can fall for the wrong people. So Costa needs to be very, very careful. Because it's not, he's not known throughout the whole country yet. Only in Mosuraro County. Because our older people, some of who say that man always causing people mouth. That man always say you do this. And when the country people get to hear those things, no disrespect to the description I'm giving them, it will become a problem. So I see Delon at the top. But for me, Delon still need to answer that question, who gave the Lebronsky and his party all the three of the ego? Because in any political debate, those questions will come out. And it depends on how he answers it, it will show some level of transparency.
All right, Mr. Dapple, thank you for honestly accepting our invitation to be part of our discussion today. And the viewers, to all of our viewers out there, we want to say thank you for being a part of the hot seat discussion today, Saturday. This will be a continuation of invitations will be sent out. And we just want to say thanks to you, Mr. Dapple. You have the give us your part and comment, and we will call this a day. Thank you, and we appreciate it.
So quickly here, let me say thanks to everyone. And I hope that I won't be a stranger here. I love talking. Like I said, my strength based on anyone interviewing me, whether it's during campaign time or this. But I will say this. Those who are struggling to understand who I am, let me say this to you. Why it is true that I am a Liberian, I have an American way of approaching things. And to be more specific, I am an engineer. I study process flow. It's like when you're driving your car, the moment I see that red light coming on or that check engine light, I will tell you to stop that car. Not because it's driving, it means that it's okay. What do I mean by that? I can support you today. If you do something tomorrow that is wrong, I will criticize you. The next day, if you start doing the right thing again, I will support you. When you do the next thing, the wrong way, the following day again, I will stop you. And I know you don't understand these things. But Every leader must say the truth. The Joe Biden man, what you're hearing saying, I need to have somebody who will tell me the truth if I'm wrong. That's the kind of policy, that is the kind of approach, that is the kind of character. So you ask yourself before I leave, have any of you guys seen any wrong with your political leader? If the answer is yes, what have been your reaction? Did you look the other way and say, because he's my political leader, so why he's doing wrong, I will not say anything? That question is up to you. But for me, I will keep doing it. If we are does the right thing, I will come here and commend him. If he does the wrong thing, I will come here. Monday, you're going to be speaking. Whatever is true, I will tell you. Whatever is wrong, I will tell you, because that's who I am. Lofa Julius, thank you so much, my brother. It's always a pleasure, man. I enjoy the show, man.
Thank you.
I look forward to the feedback. Yes, I look forward to the feedback.
Thank you for your contribution, and we appreciate your patience as well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bye to everyone.
So, folks, for those of you who are just joining us, we want to say thank you and welcome.